The driver told police he hit a cow on the highway at about 4 o'clock this morning. The impact blew the left front tyre, sending the truck careering out of control into a nearby guardrail. It overturned down an embankment and exploded into flames. The driver was able to kick out the windscreen and escape the burning cabin. He was treated on the scene for minor abrasions. And luck was also with the driver of this car, which overturned on the entrance road at Erina this morning. The car left the road and overturned, knocking down a power pole. The driver was trapped for a short while in the vehicle. It was feared he may have suffered spinal injuries, but all proved okay.
Last week it seemed as though the 9-month-old dispute over the control of the Hunter Helicopter Rescue Service could spill from the boardroom to its operations. The reason? 8 volunteer crew members announced they were leaving over what they said was the wrongful sacking of pilot Keith Stewart. While they still believe Mr. Stewart should not have been dismissed, 6 of the crew have now decided to stay on.
Volunteer crewmen were quite fearful of the fact that if Sydney crewmen came up here to fill the spots that the volunteers had left, that it would not be in the best interests of the citizens of Newcastle, the service in Newcastle, or maintaining Newcastle interest in Newcastle.
The crew members could soon have a say in the running of the service. Board member Ron Land from the Mine Workers Union will put to tomorrow night's meeting a proposal for the volunteers to be represented. That would bring the board up to 10 members, breaking the current majority of surf life-saving representatives.
And really, the inclusion of a staff representative on that board just brings additional skills and additional inputs, different ideas.
Mr. Ron Land's proposal is to be applauded, and it will see for the first time the board showing real guts in getting up and making some sort of autonomous move to have Newcastle's affairs kept in Newcastle.
Mr. Land says in an act of faith in the helicopter service, Hunter mine workers this week have donated $30,000 to the chopper and could be contributing another $50,000 by the end of the month. And he says the service may soon include a light aircraft to beat some of the high charges of transferring hospital patients by helicopter.
We not only believe that we can transport patients more quickly between hospitals, but on a more cost-effective basis.
The attack took place outside Maitland's Town Hall at about midnight on Friday as John Moylan was sitting on the front steps of the building. He was hit 4 or 5 times across the body with a steel post and given one savage blow across the side of the head, which fractured his skull. Surgeons at John Hunter Hospital saved his life, but he remains in a serious condition. Today, detectives revealed they will dramatically upgrade their inquiries, setting up an information van outside the Town Hall from 8 p.m. this Friday night until 1:30 on Saturday morning.
What we're going to try and do is drum up a bit of public reaction and get some more information from people who regularly use this high street on a Friday evening.
Police won't be relying on the information van alone. They'll also have uniformed officers visiting hotels and night spots throughout the region in the hope of jogging a few memories. Police have released descriptions of 2 men wanted in the inquiry. One is about 186 centimetres or 6 feet tall, with blonde short hair and of athletic build. He was wearing a light top and jeans. The other was of stocky build with short dark hair and was wearing a flannelette shirt and jeans. If you think you recognise these men, call Maitland Police on 340 200 or phone the Crime Stoppers hotline on 008 251 009. Tom Hilston, NBN News. It's estimated that school buses carry about 50,000 school children to and from home every day in the Hunter Valley. Blue Ribbon Coaches carries almost half of them. This afternoon, the company presented a bus safety education package to the region's teachers and police. The program is aimed at primary and high school children and includes badges, colouring in kits and cartoons, as well as a rap video. The program is coordinated by the New South Wales Bus and Coach Association. Blue Ribbon Coaches Managing Director Amos Mordew saw the program and liked it.
Unfortunately, there's already been a couple of children killed this year, hopping off a bus, running across the road, and we felt that there was something could be done. That's why we come up with this program.
The program has received a favourable response. Anything that could help reduce the road toll is certain to get a hearing, and it's not only parents and teachers who will welcome the extra peace of mind.
Around 500 people attended the midday meeting in the town hall to find out why Glen Innes has lost so many jobs and to make it known to the state government that residents aren't happy with the situation. Present at the meeting were those that have lost jobs due to cutbacks in government offices, including the RTA, Forestry Commission and Health Services. The meeting passed 3 motions. The first to approach the government about a 4-zone system in the RTA, which would see the inclusion of the Glen Innes office. The meeting also decided to seek support from local member Ray Chappell to ensure the retention of government infrastructure in the town. Mr Chappell, however, says the problems in Glen Innes are not isolated.
Has Glen Innes been singled out for change? Yeah. No, it has not.
Votes, it's all votes.
Glen Innes has been no more singled out for change than anywhere else in New South Wales.
In the event that the government does hand the RTA soil testing laboratory over to private ownership, then the people of Glen Innes want a guarantee from the government that the lab will receive work for the next 5 years.
Go, Lennon. Yes. Go. Good job.
The girls' final between Goulburn's Marion College and Wagga's Mount Erin High was a game with absolutely nothing in it. At full time it was deadlocked at 0-0, extra time was played and still a 0-0 draw. The game was determined with a penalty shootout and even that ended with an extremely close result. Marion College in the blue and white ended up taking the game 4-3. In the boys' final, it was a clash between locals Farah in the green and gold and Goulburn St Peters. Goulburn proved too strong, taking the game 3-1.
Workers at a gravel quarry discovered a river of oil and degreaser flowing through the property early yesterday. Tyre tracks leading from the dump site suggested a road tanker and trailer had discharged waste. The oil entered a creek at the base of the quarry and quickly spread into nearby bushland. An excavator from the quarry was used to help dam the spill, and forestry workers began the task of mopping up someone else's mess.
It's going to kill any fauna and flora that get immediate contact with it.
The watercourse eventually enters Dora Creek, which flows into Lake Macquarie. The Waste Management Authority has identified discrepancies between the amount of liquid waste generated in the Hunter and the amount of which is legally disposed of. This latest spill confirmed the EPA's suspicions that fly-by-night dumpers are active in the area.
It certainly brings it to the surface. We have never said that it didn't occur, and we've always had our suspicions that it is going on at a level certainly much greater than we would like to see.
Samples have been taken in an attempt to fingerprint or track the oil to its source, thought to be in the West Lakes or Wyong area. If caught, the polluter faces stiff penalties.
For aggravated pollution, there is a $1 million fine for a corporation, for an individual, a $250,000 fine, and a 7-year jail sentence.
These are the products being produced and marketed by 9 companies, spread as far afield as Taree in the north and Wyong in the south. The common thread is they're all made by Year 11 students who formed their own company and are now going through the paces of selling their products in the competitive marketplace. Today they came together to compare notes and check out their colleagues' products. The students theoretically become entrepreneurs, selling shares, deciding on a product, manufacturing and marketing it, and then at the end of the year, winding up their company and liquidating it.
It's all real. It's real shares, real money, real product. And if they make a mistake, it's a real mistake.
Despite the frustration, there's many a lesson to be learnt.
The importance of being motivated, of working well together, of planning, and of being prepared to put yourself out to get a job done.
To give the students a kick start, local businesses and city councils act as sponsors for the companies, and today they were on hand to share some trade tips. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
In a sometimes spiteful game, the Rosellas had the better of the first half. Tony Price and Greg Price to Neil Baker, and Darren Tracy used brute strength to give West a 12-0 lead at half-time. Captain coach Steve Walters got the Lakes outfit on the board, his neat grubber kick anticipated by Brian Quinton, and Lakes were back in the ball game. Down to 12 men with one in the bin due to a professional foul, Tony Price took the opportunity to spread it quickly, and the Rosellas led 16-8. And if you can do it, so can we. Lakes using the back line, and all of a sudden it was 2 points the difference. And then controversy. Tony Price appeared to be tackled well and brought to ground, but he got his pass away and the movement was allowed to continue, much to the amazement of many. And Greg Price was on the end to give Western Suburbs an 8-point win.
Head of the Friends of the Whitebridge Cemetery, John Tully, says the site is a priceless possession to the district. It's become the resting place of many of the area's best-known identities, and to locals, it's more than a cemetery.
The people here consider this to be a park. It is certainly not a necropolis, it is not a morbid place.
But its condition is deteriorating. A poor drainage system that's more often than not blocked is causing overflows and erosion of surrounding soil. Mr Tully says the gravel road is inadequate and needs sealing. Plus rubbish is often strewn across the cemetery because of a lack of bins. In the last few months, Mr Tully says his group has received hundreds of complaints from concerned citizens. Lake Macquarie Council was approached and some upgrading work was carried out. But that's proved a temporary solution.
Unless something is done before the next decent flow of rain, it's all going to be lost.
Today, Mr Tully and colleagues met with council to alert them to the situation. Mayor Doug Carley has agreed to assess the group's demands and seek funding from the Budget Committee. He's also agreed to head a delegation to go to state government to seek additional funds. Council will also review its entire cemetery maintenance budget. Currently, Council allocates around $1,400 annually for maintenance to each of its 8 cemeteries.
Shoppers at Gosford Stockland Mall and at Carryong, Wyoming and Kincumber now have a way to communicate with police without any direct contact. Metal letterboxes like this were unveiled today as part of a police intelligence gathering initiative.
And we've had the inmates of the maximum security at Carryong build us 4 information-style letterboxes, which we've placed around the various shopping centres, including here at Stockland's Mall, for the purpose of people supplying us with all types of information, anonymously or otherwise, on any offence that they have knowledge of, and we'll treat all that information confidentially.
Each letterbox took 4 hours to make. Police say their manufacture is part of a training program for young offenders aimed at minimising the effects of institutionalisation and maximising the potential of each young person. And they're not the only ones who'll benefit. Police predict the letterboxes will be a great help to them.
We see it as a means of obtaining information, having a close relationship with the community, and as well getting the beat police around the various suburbs emptying the boxes out regularly.
The 3-day program, which is a first for the Northwest, has attracted students and teachers from as far afield as Coonabarabran, Walgett and Dunedoo. The seminars will give these students a chance to experience the type of lectures that others in places like Sydney have access to.
It's a brand new idea. The idea is to really emulate similar exercises that are held in Sydney, and I believe that we've done that. We've got 40 outstanding speakers for the students, and I do feel they'll get a great deal of benefit from the program.
More than 800 students and 300 teachers are attending the seminars. They'll concentrate on all subject areas in the HSC, including 3- and 4-unit courses, as well as relaxation techniques, scaling and information about university entry. The lectures are being conducted by UNE lecturers. Addresses this morning were also delivered by fellow and ex-students. With times being hard for many families, organisers of the seminars have been able to keep the cost to a minimal $45.
Because of the large numbers involved and because of the fact that we've used billeting for the majority of students, we've been able to keep costs to an absolute minimum, and in this day and age I think that's very important.
The Manning has long been a tourist destination, but the Manning Valley Tourism Association has even bigger plans. Rosemary Foote last night launched the association's latest visitors guide, which is sent to hundreds of different travel and tourist organisations across Australia. Ms Foote believes it will help enhance the Manning's reputation on the tourist map.
You seem to have a group of vital people. There seem to be a lot of special activities that you're planning, and I think a very visually attractive area that puts on a lot of special events, it's got to be a winner.
Ms Foote last visited the region in 1982, and this time round she's noticed a lot of changes.
The city's come ahead very, very well, and there seems to be a tremendous atmosphere of cooperation tonight, and I feel it's going to go ahead.
The Greater Taree City Council was one of dozens of councils to try for the AR Blewett Award, and according to Mayor Les Brown, the win was not a surprise.
It's an acknowledgement that by comparison with our colleagues, we've performed far better than the other municipal councils throughout the state during the past 12 months.
The judges decided council made more progress than all other municipal councils in the state, and Mayor Brown says a number of things are taken into consideration by the judges.
the way you conduct your business, liaison with the public, the way you balance your books, but principally it's centred around your performance as it affects ratepayers and your performance on their behalf.
More than 1,000 people crammed into City Hall last night, all opposed to the plan to cut the rail line at Civic Station. The meeting supported a motion calling for the retention of existing rail services to Newcastle, as well as a landscaped rail corridor and ground-level pedestrian access. Member for Newcastle Bryce Gaudry provided evidence of what he said was overwhelming support for the Newcastle line. The Greiner government wants to stop the line at Civic to open up land east of the station for redevelopment under the Honeysuckle project. Noticeable by his absence last night, Lord Mayor John McNaughton. He received a caning from the audience, who booed and hissed when his name was mentioned. While it's been ALP policy to support the retention of the line, Alderman McNaughton has been vocal in his opposition. Today, however, he seemed to have a change of mind.
The position is that we, as a Labor Party, support the retention of rail services to Newcastle, and of course when you really get down to it, what we want is light rail to Newcastle.
Alderman McNaughton says he supports both the government proposal and the idea to continue the line into Newcastle, but denies he's sitting on the fence. Maintaining their objection to last night's meeting, the City Centre Committee, who this afternoon issued a statement which said, "The sooner the Save Our Rail protest is forgotten as an embarrassment to Newcastle, the better." Jodie McKay, NBN News.
One of the works, titled One Room, is about 5 people trying to live together in the one house. The trials and tribulations more than likely shrinking it to seem like the size of one room. Like many new situations, things start out rosy, but as time progresses, frustration grows. The battle for the phone probably close to many a heart. The second piece, called Silencing, is very much the opposite of One Room in tempo. Its mood is classical, using traditional dance steps to highlight the music of Arvo Pärt. It's a movement piece with no real message, instead relying on music and lighting to set the scene. The company's show also includes poetry and music and begins tomorrow night. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
Newcastle High in the red and blue had already come through a tough 6-round regional playoff series with flying colours, but the visitors from Condell Park High in Sydney's West had done the same and were going to be hard to toss. With their travelling entourage in full voice, Condell Park opened well to lead by 4 early in the first half. Coach Graham Baker swung plenty of changes for Newcastle and they started to get their act together. Helped by excellent defence from a committed lineup, Newcastle was able to turn the tables on their opponents. Also aiding the cause for the locals was their tremendous outside shooting, and Newcastle quickly piled on the points. With a handy lead at half-time, Newcastle applied the pressure to race away with the match 82 points to 60 and advance to the next round of the Shell Cup knockout.
Although this is only a pantomime, Coffs Harbour's health workers say it's no joke. They launched their ambitious plan for a smoke-free city today at celebrations to mark World Tobacco Free Day on Sunday. They say with increasing publicity about the effects of cigarettes and this week's passive smoking court decision, the time is right for action.
80,000 Australians die every year from smoking-related diseases, and it is the single most preventable cause of illness and death that we can work on. I mean, take away the tobacco and you just haven't got those 80,000 deaths.
Smoke-free supporters believe that stamping out cigarettes will mean a better environment for everyone. But health workers say it won't happen overnight. Restaurateur Peter Dobinson is evidence of that support. His restaurant Amigos has been smoke-free for 1.5 months. Reaction so far has been positive. Weather-wise, things have gone well for growers over the past few weeks. There's been good rain and enough dry weather in between for planting.
Most of the eastern part of the Shire is planted, or will be planted over the next few weeks, but still very patchy in the west of Narrabri Shire, and I understand much the same in the west of Moree.
According to Mr Everly, planting so far indicates a move back to wheat.
This Shire last year didn't get a large area planted because of the very wet weather, particularly in the western part of the Shire, but if everything goes right and we do get some more planting rain to allow people to plant in the west of the Shire, we probably should see a fairly large area planted to wheat.
Prices this year will be anyone's guess, but the experts say providing there's no major fluctuation in weather conditions, yields should be good.
The ones that are in have good subsoil moisture levels, probably as good as they've ever had. They've established well, so obviously anybody that's got wheat in the ground now, they won't need particularly good weather to achieve average or better than average yields.
A week ago, the Knights suffered their third successive loss, albeit by a point to the Tigers on the back of a Benny Elias field goal. Post-match reports, including our Monday review, were critical of the performance against Balmain and compared the Knights of 91 to the current crop of red and blues. And that's where coach David Waite saw his own shade of red.
We need to regain some lost ground, and we need to stay in touch with the front runners. And I also said a little bit earlier to you that it's very, very strange to find people reflecting on 1991 results when this team has achieved more first than any other football team that we've put on the park.
In defence of a team under siege, Waite pointed out that the Knights have the best for and against record in the Winfield Cup, but unfortunately that doesn't convert to competition points.
What you'll find that in the wash-up over a full season, if you maintain those sorts of percentages, you're going to be there. And I can't really remember a team that's really beaten us. We lose 2 points, games against Brisbane, games against Canberra, and a point decision against Balmain, but they didn't get out there and beat us. A lot of that was self-inflicted.
So the game against the Eels becomes doubly important. Sam Stewart coming into the starting lineup for the injured Mark Glanville, and Robbie O'Davis makes his first grade debut on the wing.
I think the boys, have plenty of faith in me as a footballer, and I know I'm taking Adrian Bronca's place, but if he has to come back into the side, I want to give Wadey something to look at. If he ever has injury, he's got no hesitations in bringing me back up.
And a long-range program is beginning to pay off for the Knights.
I can remember very early on saying it'll be a year when the youth in the Valley will be given their opportunity, and those players, and Stephen Crow as well, have really earned their spots in first grade with great form.
It's a new-look Geelong outfit that arrived in Newcastle this morning, trying to come to grips with their mass defection at the end of last season. With the loss of boomers John Dorge and Shane Hill, Vince Hinchin and Jim Bateman along with Terry Dozier to the Falcons, and their record of 1 win from 9 matches so far in 92 indicates the Cats are battling. But tonight they could be a real danger.
We've had 9 games, won 1, lost 8, and probably had a chance to win 6 of the others. But new group, inexperienced, and at the crucial stage just let the games go.
In the 18 meetings between the two clubs, Geelong have won 10 to the Falcons 8 with a win apiece last year, something new coach Steve Breeny would like to improve on.
Geelong, when they had their real good year last year, Newcastle was one of the few teams to beat them. So yeah, we'd like to come back and keep that margin.
The aim was to run as far as possible in 6 hours, not over the wall but around the inside perimeter. Teams of inmates, prison officers and priests were sponsored per lap by the local community. One officer, Russell Smith, notched up 216 laps. That's about 39 kilometres. The purpose of the day was to raise awareness about preventing the spread of AIDS in New South Wales corrective centres. Proceeds from the marathon will go to the Tamworth Drop-In and Resource Centre. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
They must have everything in proportion. We don't want a tail that is too short for the length of the body.
More than 200 pedigree hopefuls entered the championship. All shapes and sizes were represented. However, there was drama during the judging of the Supreme Cat Division when one competitor became restless and wandered off. After a tense few moments, the silver Abyssinian was found, but the title went to a brown Burmese from Queensland.
This is the style of a champion who says he's never been coached. It's made him one of Australia's best tennis veterans and earned him a swag of trophies, but he puts it down to luck, not ability.
I don't think I'm a good player. I think I'm just ordinary. But I gave up tennis 25 years ago and took it up here again 5 years to come to Foster.
Luck or not, you can't argue with Frank's achievements. Winner of the Australian Open doubles title for the past 2 years, runner-up at this year's Australian singles titles, and team member of the veterans equivalent of the Davis Cup, the Crawford Cup. That's not mentioning his World Cup efforts, where he narrowly escaped a first-round defeat.
I was very lucky. The first round I was down 7-6 in the tie-break of the first set, and 5-2 in fifth love. But changed my rackets and came up and won 7-5, 6-1.
Now Frank's set his sights on the New South Wales Open in Sydney on the weekend, and then he'll head to Sawtell in July and Tamworth in September. And all that travelling doesn't seem to worry him at all.
It's all happening, but it's wonderful.
It hasn't been a happy year for the Bar. They've been on the wrong end of some monstrous scorelines, and their cause yesterday was not helped by some fundamental mistakes. The strong Foster outfit wasn't afraid to throw the pill about and ran the lifesavers ragged. Last-ditch defence, not enough. The Hawks by 20, 36-16. In the other games, Ray Price's Warhope side won the Battle of the Hastings and the Tigers savaged Tara United 36-10.